I love to see your I love to see your beautiful faces, but I totally understand if you don't want to be on. So thanks for joining everybody. I'm Joanne Swensrud, from Know It Sooner Computer Training, here out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I'm thrilled that you all came today. And I hope you can go away with some not just go away with some cool tips. Yeah. Yeah. So we do ask that after these sessions, if you could please go in and do a review of even just this one little session. Most of you here today have taken courses with me before. We love reviews. Everybody loves reviews. Please go and do that. And I always put a little blurb in here too. All the sessions that we do either public, well, we don't do them all public, but the sessions like today's public one, we can do for your group. And whether that's your organization or maybe you belong to some association or hey, even just a bunch of friends and something like that. And talk to me about that after. So we've got a jam-packed hour here, uh, 57 more minutes. And Free Fridays, we've brought back. Last year, we did them for 2 solid months every single Friday. And that was hard on us, and that was hard on people to say, "Oh, geez, every Friday I'm booked up." So what we did, with the exception of this month, is the first Friday of every month, and we'll probably take the summer months off and stuff like that. And there might be the odd Friday that we don't do it, but uh, basically we're trying for the first Friday of every month. So keep an eye out for that. Most of you got an email today. I don't do a lot of emailing out, but I'm one of my New Year's things is want to try to keep people a little bit more informed of what's happening. I've got my book. It started out as a calendar in 2023. I've made it into a book, and it's available on Amazon. There's links on my website. If you got an email to come today, you probably got that. 365 tips. If you want to get a little bit of an idea about what some of those tips are, you can go to my website, and I have on there the tip of the day. See, there's a link right there. The tip of the day, you can look at it. What is today's tip? This does, you can't go backwards, can't go forwards. You can print it if you want. So I won't go into this one, but this is an example of some of the tips that are in that book. So some of them you might know about, some of them you might not. It'll tell you at the bottom uh, of our screen here, of course, and in the book, which software it applies to. So this particular one is about Excel. There's smartphone tips in there, there's Word, there's PowerPoint, there's a whole bunch. So, uh,
Joanne, I got mine 2 days ago, I think.
did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I ordered it from Amazon.
yay, 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Have you looked at any of
I've
the
just flipped through it.
yeah.
I might have to snag it from my daughter-in-law, but
Did she take it?
she was looking through it and she's like, "Oh," so I told her about your programs and stuff. So,
Aw, thank you. And I can bring another one for you, Trish. I'm seeing you tomorrow. I can bring another one for you if you want to take another one.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Give it to
Sure.
her. Give it to her. Spread the
Sure.
love. Share the love. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Know about our YouTube channel. So all of these sessions are going to go up on YouTube. Like I said, here's some that we did last year, and I've also done a whole bunch of what we called um, what did we call them? Oh, it should say there. No, it doesn't say. Golden nuggets. Golden nuggets. So the little pieces, creating a Zoom background in PowerPoint. There's more than this. This is my background view here that I'm looking at this, but there's a whole bunch of them on there if you want to go and spend some time. We've got lots of courses coming up, and there is a coupon code, thanks 20, and you can go on again onto the website. Come on, website, where are you? And look at the different events. Today is a bit of a teaser to one that we've got coming up on January 28th, I believe. Well, it'll say right here, January 27th. And it is a live session, of course, just like this. It's 6 hours. So it's the 27th and the 29th. I think it's 10 o'clock in AM our time here, Mountain time. Where is it? 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There is a break. It's a slower class. So it's like, okay, I'm going to show you, and now you guys try. And we do have a sale on right now, and it is it is sale ended. Okay. So, well, no. I have the coupon code. That's right. The coupon code is almost as much as the early bird was. So, I'd really strongly encourage you, if you want to slow her down, if you like what you see today and you want to go a little bit slower, get onto this. You'll get course materials, you'll get practice exercises, and it'll be a small class like this. And yeah, this is how I make my living. So it's going to be the same kind of thing as this. Plus, there's going to be some stuff on Word. There's some things on. There's one on Outlook, a two-part series on Outlook coming up, and yeah, more free Fridays. The one in February is about Microsoft Word. We're trying to mix them up, difficult levels as well, difficulty levels. So the one on uh, the Free Friday in February is about Microsoft Word and doing a newsletter in Microsoft Word. So think about that one, how much fun that one might be. And we've got together with another company, and this is for the Canadians. I know we have some Americans on board here today, but it might be okay too. But preparing for tax season, we have lots of self-employed people come to the classes. And we've got a Teams session coming up for the third Free Friday of the year, and in March. So some of them are not open yet for registration, but please check back. Okay. Eh, what else we got here? Oh, Microsoft Office. I got a screaming deal on Microsoft Office 2021 last year. And sorry, I just have to fix this. Shift tab. Boom. Done. Reading view. Um, and I now we've got now it's Microsoft Office 2024 out. So I'm trying to get rid of my Microsoft Office 2021. They're selling for half the price that you would get them for at Staples or wherever. So this is your time. We talked a little bit about Google Drive and Google Sheets and that. If you want to make the move to Microsoft Office, because it does have more options than the free programs that are out there, this might be the time to do that. So let me know if you're interested in that. And I have two versions. I have the professional version and I have the home version. So I don't want to spend lots of time talking about that, but please let me know. Any questions about any of that before we get going? Hey, Colette, I just saw you on there. All right. So Microsoft Excel. Now, some of you that have mentioned that you use Google Sheets, you're probably going to be able to do the majority of the stuff that we're going to do today, probably. I am not a Google Sheets expert by any means. You could Google your question. So you might say, hey, does that work the same way in Google Sheets? And I'll give you a little bit of an idea if I know. Otherwise, then feel free to Google Sheets and see, hey, how do I do that? So in Excel, got all these rows and columns, of course. For creating a budget, I always like to try to think about if I was really trying to figure out if I can afford something. Now, this can be at work, it can be at home, it could be a trip. I'm planning an event. It's tomorrow, actually. It's a personal development type course. I created a budget for it. So when we talk about budgets, it's not just your home budget. My, well, I have three daughters. Two of them recently um, are getting their own places. One bought last year, so she's already did it. One is this year. And I said, well, what's your budget? Like, what can you afford? And she starts, thinking in her head about, okay, well, it's gonna, I pay, my cell phone bill is this, and my car payment is that, and my insurance is this. A lot of people don't take the extra effort to put it into a spreadsheet. They might write it on a piece of paper, and that's fine, maybe. How good is your math? But then when things change, ugh, So what I encourage everybody to do is to go in. I always start on row three because I like to have a title maybe in row one. I don't need to make it fancy today. And you always have to have headers. So I'm going to say expense. And like, what is the expense going to be? So just to give us an idea, I'm going to call it housing because I don't want to say mortgage. I don't want to say rent. I don't want to say room and board. I don't want to, whatever. Maybe it's maybe you're planning a trip to Vancouver. Do a budget for it, right? So that might be a hotel room. So where are you going to stay? And maybe this one might be mainly for house, like for a personal budget. Utilities we can put on there. What else might it be? Phone bill. And you can decide if there's anybody else out there still that's has the landline kind of things. But this is actually kind of fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun because you end up having to pay for all of this. Do you pay for Wi-Fi? Yeah, you probably pay for Wi-Fi. And you have a car payment. Maybe you have a car payment. And I would encourage you to even if you are like, oh yeah, but it's going to be done in a month. Well, put it on anyway. You can always change it to zero. There's a little bit of satisfaction in actually in changing things to zero. Um, Car insurance, right? So you just start listing your stuff here. I'm going to go up here. F2, let's use F2. F2 is a really good edit key. That's another one. I don't know if it works in Google Sheets. I think it might. I don't know. If you're on a laptop, you might have to go function F2. Fuel. What is your fuel cost, right? So I'm not going to list them all, obviously, but if this was something where it was an event that you're planning for work or for personal, then it would look a little bit different. What would it say? It would say, oh, okay, so I'm thinking of this one for tomorrow. It's like the venue. What is the cost of the venue? What is the cost of coffee? What is the cost of refreshments? What is the cost to bring the speaker in? What is the cost of maybe there's some marketing costs that you have to do, you have to advertise or something like that, right? So just trying to get the the flow going here. And what I'd really like to do at this time, I'm going to turn my chat on over here on my other monitor, and I want you all to think about something that you could use this for. So planning an event, just put it in the chat, planning an event, your home budget. How many of you are responsible for a budget at work? So someone will say, well, I know that there's some folks that they look after um, homes for other people, if that makes any sense. Well, what does it cost to run that office or run that home? Mike, how much do I need in the bank for monthly expenses? Exactly. I had a call one day from somebody that said, my husband wants to retire, and I don't know if we can afford to not have his paycheck because she didn't work and she's scared. I would be scared. You're like, no, honey, you need to keep working. Or she wanted to, start to do some travel and things like that, but they really had no idea how much they actually spend. They just know it works every month, right? So, yeah. Anyway, good, good. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I really want to give everyone some homework that they go and they do this. They do this. So that's your expense. Now, this is a weird one. I'm going to put quantity. Quantity. I should have just put QTY. Cutie. Quantity. And then the cost, I guess. And I'm going to put price. Quantity and then the price and then the cost. So what am I up to here? Well, sometimes there's multiple, right? Let me just add groceries, and that's a good example. Groceries. Um, so housing, if it's rent, one, and then maybe $1,500, right? Okay, one at what, 1,500. Um, if you pay a mortgage and it's monthly, then maybe it's quantity two. Remember, this is for the month. I suppose you could do this for the year as well. That would be kind of a not really a different example, but maybe the quantities, if you were doing something for the year, it would be 12 at blah blah blah. Maybe this is a yearly budget. It's up to you. It's up to you. Let's leave that at two. Utilities. Oh, I only pay that once a month. My phone bill, I only pay once a month. Oh, car payment, I pay twice a month. Blah blah blah. Groceries. Weekly. I have to think about it in my head. Maybe it's $100. I'm single, I'm by myself. It's $100 a week. It's that sometimes. I eat girl meals a lot. cheese and crackers kind of thing. Anyway, so fill that in. It's a little bit better than just saying housing and then the cost, utilities and then the cost, right? So that you can play around with this a little bit more. But now that we've done that, we need to do a little bit of, oops, oh, I wish $30. Um, we need to do a little bit of formulas. So I'm just gonna go here, and most of these are a one, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna leave it at groceries is four. I'll leave it as. I think that, oh, let's just for fun, we'll do a two in there for car payment. And let's just put some numbers in there. I'm going to go 300 all the way down and then just change a couple of them. Let's say 150. Fuel. Oh, okay. That one might be on a weekly basis too. Probably is 30 to $300. Let's go 75. I work from home a lot, so it's probably 50 really. Car insurance, yep, sure, 250. So it will be a little bit of work probably to go in and um, get this information, right? Um, can pay $70 now. Yeah, good. So you can get whatever you want. I would recommend leaving a few blank rows. You can always insert them later if you run out of blank rows, like you're thinking, oh shoot, I forgot about dog food, or I forgot about, I don't know, I get a certain amount of things automatically ordered from Amazon and stuff. You can add them later, but just gives yourself some room. So the cost, okay, some computer apps I pay annually. Should I break it down per month? If it's a good question, Donna. Um, so you pay annually then? You pay like, let's say it's $200 for the year.
Or
Uh,
even $43 for a year. And that's kind of hard to break down into a month.
yeah, I guess I probably would. Um, the other whole way to do a budget, and I was going to mention this too. Let me just jump over here. I'm just going to click at the bottom to do another sheet. Let me go back here. I'm gonna copy. Um, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to copy this. This is another idea for you, is to have it kind of the same idea,
Mhm.
but have it as a month. I'm just going to control wheel mouse my in here a little bit. Have it per month. And this might be something. So I put Jan in, and then with my black cross here, I just throw these little tips in. Hopefully people like them. And then it gives me every month. While I have it selected, I always like to have them centered like that. And then this helps a little bit more as far as cash flow goes. So if that's what your goal is, I'm going to go on
That'd
this.
probably be easier. Think about some of your subscriptions and
Yeah, when does that come due?
yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe some of your costs are different throughout, right? So what did I say for housing? I think well now I don't want to really do the quantity thing. So now I'm kind of upping it. I think I said $1,000 twice a month, so I'm going to go 2,000 here, and then utilities. Let's say that they're two. I think I don't know. Doesn't matter. 250 in the winter months, and then they go down a bit for the summer, and then maybe they go up again for the fall or something like that. You've got a little bit more flexibility here to do that kind of thing. So then that's when I would, like I have to pay for Zoom. Zoom is Zoom
Yeah.
subscription, for example, to do things like I'm doing today. And let's say I always like to put zeros in so that I know, let's say that it's due in September. So then it's like $150 or something. And then it's zero.
I like this better. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's like this one is just a quickie, right? It's just, hey, how much is it? And remember that this model works for just about everything. I had one I could show you, the one that I'm doing for the event that I'm planning tomorrow. I had this one here. Doesn't make sense to do it for that unless you're doing events all the time. But so I'm really trying to kind of show you the best of both worlds. So good question. Yeah. Yeah. So I might come back to this and do some totals and things, but yeah, this helps with the um, cash flow a little bit. Yeah. Good. Okay. So that is step one is to get all your data. And that is actually the hardest part, if you can believe that. That's the hardest part. And the couple that I was telling you about, it was funny because the next time I saw her, I said, "So how did your budgeting go?" She goes, "Oh, we fought all night." Because the 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 realistic numbers started to come out. So it was like, well, how much do you spend at Costco and how much do you, right? And so she's yeah, but it was a good practice. It was a good exercise, she said. Okay. So here's the real reason that you want to use Excel for your or a spreadsheet of some kind for your budget is because we would be wanting to always calculate things in our head, and they're easy to do. I think I can do every single one of these in my head, but then when things change, we want it to automatically update. So how would I get, what is it, housing 2000? How would I get that in there? Of course, I could type it in, but then when I go over here and I say, oh, hey, I renewed my mortgage and it went down to 900. Of course, you would want it to change. I'm going to go Control Z to get rid of that, undo, undo. What would the formula be to do that? Oh, hello, Nicolina. I hope I said your name right. I just saw you joined. Welcome. What would the formula be? Who knows the formula to do this? So we're in our head, we're going 2 times 1000, right? So look at how easy it is to do in Excel. In the cell you want your answer to go into, we're going to hit equals, and then we're just going to click on the 2, and we're going to go times, which is the asterisk, and then we're going to click on 1000. So equals, click, times, click, enter. That's how easy it is. And a lot of people are like, what? That's it? And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Okay, fine. But that's how easy it is. And for the folks who don't know, and you don't have to tell me, this is just in your own mind, how many of you have done this on paper or in a program like Microsoft Word, where it's super easy to do? Yeah, 2,370. But again, if things change, if this changes to 900, boom,
Could
changed.
you do it again for me, please?
Sure. Just hit delete there. Make sure that at the bottom left-hand corner, it says ready. Has to say ready. If you're in the middle of something, then it doesn't work properly for you. So it has to say ready. So I'm going to click where I want my answer to go. I'm going to hit equals on my keyboard. I'm going to click on, just click on whatever you want. I'm thinking in my head 2 times 1000. So equals, click on the 2, and then times. So shift 8 if you don't have a little multiply button on the right hand side of your keyboard. That's your multiply. And then click on the 1000. How many of you would have done this and you've typed it equals B4 times C4? That's okay too. I kind of like the clicking a little bit better. Main reason is because it's easier and I'm lazy. And it's a less chance of error, right? Would there have been a chance where you might have typed C5? B5 times C5 or C2. That's what a lot of people do. If you had to type, you might go B2 because it's like it's the second row, but really it's the fourth row because I left the first couple rows blank. So it could be anywhere. It could be over here in L17, right? So I don't care what the name of it is. Let's just put it in there. And then it kind of highlights it for you so that you kind of know if you're on the right track. Then you press enter. I'll do one more just for fun. Equals 1 times 300. 300. So if you all of a sudden are like, well, I've decided to, I don't know if you can ever cut your utility bill into 2 payments, but if you were able to do that, there you go. It just sits there and works. Oh, in order to cut it into 2 payments, it's a little bit more expensive that way. Okay, 160, whatever. So this is how you get to play with things. So when I was planning that event, oh my gosh, I was looking at different venues and I was looking at different ways to, do we get them to do our coffee supply? Do we bring it in from Tim Hortons, right? What do we do? So I was playing with these numbers all the time. So I'm going to go to the top one because I will never do two exactly the same like I just did. So that 300, I mean, you're not going to sit there and go equals this times this, and on this one equals this times that. You're not going to do that. You're going to go to the top one and you're going to watch for that black cross. Mine's a little bit bigger because I like to have that easier for people to see. But if you click on that cell and you go to the bottom right-hand corner of that cell, you're going to see that black cross, and that's called autofill. And we did that a few minutes ago with that January, February, March. And I did that a few minutes ago too, when I think I did the 2 or the 1 or whatever I did over here. So what that does is it copies that formula and it adjusts the formula. So how come I didn't get 2000, 2000, 2000? I got all the right numbers, didn't I? Because what it did, if I click on it here, then I can look up here on my formula bar and I can see the formula. It's B4 times C4. That makes sense. If I click on the second one, it's B5 times C5 and so on. B6 and B7 and B8 and all the way to the bottom. Now we're looking at B11. If I click up there, pretend I'm going to edit it, it shows me the cells that it's using. So if there was an error somewhere, if you're like, hey, how come it's still looking at cell B10? You can fix it here. Hit escape to come out of that. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about my Costco trip. I'm going to add $400 or make it $400. I go to Costco once a week. There you go, 1600. Uh-oh, maybe I should only go twice. Okay, whatever, right? I wish it was that easy to control the costs, but it's that easy to control the spreadsheet. Any questions about that so far? How easy is that? Going to make it look nice. Select it, this time with a white cross. I don't want to use that black cross anymore because it's going to get rid of my stuff. Ah! Undo. Use my white cross. And I use these buttons up here, the dollar sign. If that looks too busy for me, I can just use the comma and that takes away the dollar signs. So it gives it all nice 2 decimal places because sometimes your numbers aren't going to be nice round numbers like this. Right? Maybe your housing is $978.23. Okay, so you do like to have the 2 decimal places there. Even the rest of the numbers don't need it, but it is what it is. So that is how easy it is to get your data in. If you go in here and you add a whole bunch more stuff, that's okay. I'll talk about what to do when you need to insert more rows. Any questions? Anybody learn anything? Expect to see some nice budgets out there. And again, it could be for trips. It could be for just about anything. Okay. So now we're going to get to the total. I don't think I care about the total quantity, right? Why would you care that you have how many expenses? How many expenses do I have there? 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 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 no. Never, ever, ever. I'm going to select those just for fun. And I want to show you down at the bottom here. Look at my big purple. No, it's this one. No, it is this one. Hang on. To think about that for a minute. It is this number right here. Sum 14. Whatever I have selected, I can total it just to have a little number in the top of my little brain. It's not going to print anywhere. Do you guys all see where that 14 is? So the count is 8. The count means I have 8 things selected. So basically I have 8 expenses. I don't care if it's a 1 or a 4 or a 3,000. It counts as one, but the sum actually adds it up. So is that right? I'm gonna assume that's right. Excel has never lied to me before, except if I have like a hidden row or something like that, then it can lie to me a little bit. But what I really want to know, and I don't even think I care about what each one adds up to, what I really care about is this number. So if I select it, it tells me that my monthly expenses are $4,276.46. But I want to have that number right here. I want to be able to print this thing out. So what do? So it's kind of the same as the formula we did here. It does start with an equal sign. The difference is we don't have to type the equal sign in. There's a button. So here's the 3 steps that you want to know about. And in that course I was talking about that starts on the, oh boy, why can't I remember that? The 27th, I think it was. I always want to say the 28th, the 27th of January. We have a sheet that we go through this and we do tons and tons of this. So we start by clicking on the cell that we want the answer to go to. It was the same thing as we did up here. We clicked here. This is where we want the answer to go. Instead of dragging over the cells, we want to add up. And for those of you that might have been self-taught, or maybe you learned years ago and that is what you had to do, this time, here's the new cool way to do it. You click where you want your answer to go first. I think it makes sense to have it underneath the costs. Sure, why not? Then you go up to your toolbar and you grab the auto sum button. The auto sum button. Now we're just going to go in and we're just going to click on auto sum. You don't need to go to the side of it, but if you want to see, this is also how you can do an average and minimum and maximum and stuff like that. We're just going to go and click on the auto sum button. Some of you might have not the words auto sum. You might just have the little symbol. That's okay. Just click on the little symbol. Rest your mouse on it. Make sure, and mine says sum. See the little tool tip down at the bottom. Click on it and then just stop for a second to see what it adds up. It adds up all of the costs, and I can't tell yet what the answer is going to be. That's okay. But look what it's adding up. D4 to D16. D4, is that right? Yeah, to D16. Now remember when I told you allow some space for extra stuff, right? Some people are like, I don't want 16, I only want it to 11. And that is what might have happened if you would have selected the cells first. This way, it allows us to add a whole bunch of extra stuff. So we want to include those blanks in there for later, right? Does that make sense? That you never say I'm done. I don't care. There's always going to be something. All right. So if it's correct, all we do is press enter. Is that the same number? I think it is. Is that great big 42? Yeah, it is. Look at that. Yay. So you can kind of use the thing on the bottom right-hand corner to verify, I guess, what you want. Any questions about that? If there's some typing, type in the chat. I'll do it one more time. Click where you want it to go. Click on auto sum. Take a look, see if it's correct. Looks good to me. Enter. Any questions? That new to anybody? Any aha moments there? If I look at the formula, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to look up in my formula bar up here. I can read about it. Some people might type that equal sum. They have to type the bracket, then they have to either type the range or they have to drag over it. Might not think to go to those extra cells and then press enter. You can type it if you want. Yeah, sometimes I'll type it, kind of fills things in for you and stuff, but I love the little auto sum button. It works great. Now, sometimes the auto sum button, having said that, sometimes the auto sum button doesn't work exactly how we want it to. So for example, what if I didn't want the sum there? What if I wanted it here? Right? And let's say like maybe this stuff was, I don't know, way over here. Right? There's a whole bunch of other things in between and I don't want to go all the way over there to look for my number, right? Undo. I want it right there. I want it right there. So I think I just was I was highlighting the wrong cells. Would I just drag? Yeah, so I'm going to do this again, and this time it's not going to guess properly. So I'm going to start where I want it to go. This time I want it to go in column B. I'm going to go grab the auto sum and it says, hey, I see some numbers here in the quantity. And I'm like, well, that's not really what the numbers that I want, right? If I just went with it, it would be like 14. Nope, I know I spend more than $14 in a month. So I'm going to click where I want it to go, click on the auto sum. And this time I'm just going to take my mouse and drag over the cells, not stopping here, but going all the way down. So don't go on the same row, go on the very last spot. So it would be row 16. So you can either, well, I don't know why you would backspace and fix it when it was wrong, but you just click and drag. Make sure you have that white cross, because if you don't, then it does little weirdo things. So that's why I don't highlight first. If I highlight first, it just puts it wherever it wants. So click where you want it to go first, click the auto sum, and then decide if it's right. And the chances are that if you're underneath, it's gonna work. If you're on the right hand side of your numbers, it's going to work. Okay, I'm going to show you an exception on that in a minute. But most of the time, if you're underneath it, boom, done, enter. How quick is that? And then, of course, if these numbers change, oh, my utilities went up to 350, bam, it changes. So you can decide where you want it to go. Any questions with that part? So I'm going to go to sheet 2 and I'm just going to put some fake data in here. Select it all and then just drag her down. I'll do it here too. Total. So we know how much we're spending in each month. Remember this other one that we had? And just for fun, I'm going to say that June we don't have a housing payment. Maybe every year they give you a break and wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, you don't have to pay your mortgage this month. Yeah, okay. But I'm going to show you what happens this time. So this is another auto sum. This time we want our totals for the whole row. So it's exactly the same. We click where we want it to go. Then we go and click on auto sum. Now stop for a second. What it's doing is different this time. Last time it just knew. And you're like, Joanne, you're a liar. You said if it's underneath the numbers or to the right of the numbers, it would work. Well, it has a bit of a question. I'm not going to say an issue. It has a question. I noticed you have a blank cell here. Do you want that included? And we're like, yeah, we do. Okay, then we have to correct it. And usually what I'll do is sometimes you can go in here and you can sort of stretch that, but sometimes you can also kind of mess it up and then you have to start over. So usually what I'll do is I'll go to the end, watch for the white cross. I could have started at the other end. And I'm just going to be very careful that I don't go over top of the cell that I started in. I'm going to say B6, yep, to M6. So yes, I want to include that cell, even though it's blank right now. I want to include the ones on the other side of it. And I press enter. And I want to be able to go here and say, oh, actually now they're going to make us pay half. Okay, done. It's included. Or I can say, nope, 0, done. So that's the exceptions. If it sees a blank, or in the other case back here, it saw text, right? I didn't even mention that. When I was here and I did it, it saw that there was text and it just stopped, right? It knew that I didn't want cell D, what is that, D4? I have my little bar there. D3. It just knew that I didn't want D3 included. So it stops if it sees a blank or if it sees text. Done, done, done. Questions? So now what I'd be able to do with this guy is I'd be able to drag her down. So we drug across earlier. Now we can drag it down. I guess we drug it down as well. And the other one. Now we're going to do it here to the bottom. so we know what our expenses are for January. So like Donna mentioned, this is a little bit of a better one. It gives you a little bit more information. This is just driving me crazy. And I'm going to grab my total row two at the bottom just so that I pre-format it. Click on my $sign button. So I know that I spend 22,000 on housing. I know I spend 2750 on utilities, but what did I spend in January? So I'm going to click and what are the steps? Click where I want it to go. Go click on auto sum. It guesses. It includes those blank ones. Yay, good. And even though my Zoom subscription for January is 0, I still want it included. It's not blank, it's 0. And I press enter. 3750 I'm spending in January. Gee, I like this one better than the other budget. And I'm going to use the black cross again to drag it to the right. So this gives me lots of information. It gives me information monthly and it gives me an annual total if I need that. What's going on here in this cell? What's going on there? Kind of weird that it's just that cell, but I do think I know why.
It's confused, right?
Yeah, it's confused about something. Not really confused. Now if I go up to it and rest my mouse, it says 1400. So
Oh.
it's kind of working. What's wrong with those? What's happening? What's different about June? It's a smaller column. It doesn't have a 4-digit number in here. So what it's really only doing is it's complaining that the column's too small. So I'm going to go up between G and H, get this type of a cursor, and I can either drag it over to the right. There we go. Now it's not complaining. Now it's got enough room. Oh, it's a little too much. So what I could have done, I'm just going to Control Z that. What I could have done is just go up here between the G and the H and double clicked. And the double click is called auto fit or best fit. And it makes that column as big as it needs to be to display the largest entry. So if this one over here, because it's bigger, if it needed to have a 6-digit plus the decimals, they would need more room. So sometimes your columns, they are as big as they need to be automatically. When you type a number in, it goes, oh, I need that one to be this big. When I typed this one in, it didn't need to be as big as the other months because it didn't have any 4-digit numbers, right? Remember I said June didn't have a mortgage or a housing payment? You're going to see that lots. You're going to see that all the time. How many of you have seen those before? How many of you have seen those? They are always there. And when I saw that, I just went double click. It took me a lot to not just jump up there and do it. I wanted to explain it. That really freaks people out sometimes. Sometimes they see it and they're like, oh no, undo. I'm going to go back to using my pen and paper. No, please don't. Right? It just needs a little bit of a help once in a while. So there's our grand total on this one. What happens if we go to add something on this one? Let's say I have I have to pay my website. I have website costs every month. So my website, and well, it's not really every month. It's incredibly expensive. It comes due in March. It's $1,400 a year. Ouch! And this went way up. It's not a month, a year. This one went way up. Column width is still fine because it didn't go up a digit. This over here needs some help. So it didn't go in, and on the right hand side here, it didn't add it up. So my 41,000 is still there. So we just have to keep a little bit of an eye on it. I'm just going to drag the one above it and autofill it down. So it kind of says, hey, you've got a new entry here. So now it went up to 42,800. In the classes, we show you something called tables, and with tables, we don't have to worry about that. And I don't mean to keep information from you, but in the short period of time that we have today, we don't have time to go into tables. But it is something really cool that we do cover that you wouldn't have had to go in and do that extra step. The other extra steps you do have to do, though, here and even in a table, is if you run out of room. So I added a website cost. Now I want to add something else. Maybe I want to add the Costco trips or office supplies or something like that. I'm sure we can think of lots to do here. My, yeah. So we don't want to type in this blank cell. I want to repeat that. We don't want to type in the blank cell. I'm going to show you the formula here. It right now, it says B6 to B16. So B6 to B16. So 6 to 16. As long as we insert a row between 6 and 16, our formula is going to adjust. So if we inserted a row, it's going to go 6 to 17. Yay! Our stuff will be included. Our expense will be included. So we always want to be between B6 and B16 to do our inserting. If we type in B16 and then we want to do an extra one, we would probably be on B17 and do our insert. And B17 is not in our formula, so our formula is not going to adjust. Does that make sense? Let me show you, because I don't want you to go off and do your homework of doing a budget and then get stuck. So remember, B6 to B16. I'm going to go to 16. Look where I am. I'm way over on the left-hand side. I don't like clicking just on A16. I go way over to B16. You can right click, or there's an insert button on your toolbar here. Okay, I'm just going to hit insert. Don't need to go to the little drop downs or anything. I'm just going to hit insert, and it gives me a blank row. Now I have two blank rows. I had one before. But look at the formula. It went B6 to B17. Isn't that great? B17. So I would be able to go here, and I have to put in that I get my nails done every month, and that's $50. Okay, all the way across. Drag this one down so that includes it. Okay, wow, $600 a year, really? Okay, now it included it. If I go here and type, right? Here's a problem. Okay, maybe I'm going to put in that I also have to pay for my email program. So I'm doing something wrong this time. I'm not putting it in. I'm not creating a blank row. Email program, and I pay $30 a month for that. Not every month though. 30. Okay. Hey, Joanne, you're a liar again. It worked, right? It worked. B6 to B17. It worked. Okay. I'm going to put them here. I don't pay all year. I don't know. I'm just going to pay for the first 5 months. I do have to fix this. Okay. It's getting a little cluttered down there too, isn't it? And I'm like, oh no, I need another one. Okay. I'm going to click here. So remember that it says up here, B6 to B17, 17, and I go to 18. So I'm out of the range. And disclaimer here, Excel sometimes picks that up and makes a change for me. Let's see how kind of mood it's in today. So I'm going on to 18 and I click on it. And what did it do? It still says 17. So whatever I type in here into 18, is it going to pick it up or not? Right? I don't know. Is it going to pick it up or not? So I'm going to say office supplies. I probably spend $25 a month. Okay. So It did change it up here, but it doesn't always change it. So it did change it to be 18. This guy is still 17. So 100 years later, I go over here to September and I say, well, I bought some office supplies for $100. Is it going to change it? Yeah, it changed it. But now it's complaining. It's like you have an inconsistent formula. This one is J18 and the one beside it is 17 and the one beside it on the other side is 17 and it makes for kind of an icky workbook. And I'm going to show you another reason why you want to keep that in there. So I'm just going to get rid of my office expenses. I'm going to select it the same way as I inserted and I'm going to go delete and I'm going to insert again. And I'm actually going to put the formula in again to make it correct. So I'm going to make it go. See, it's messed up now. Because I had the blank in there, right? So B6 to B18. Yay. Good. Drag her across. And I'm going to drag it all the way across because this formula comes from the row, not from above. And I'm going to show you the other reason why I like the blank row for sorting. So I'm going to go here. Chances are you're going to want to make your heading row a little bit nicer looking. Maybe I think I centered them already. Maybe make them bold. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. Maybe put some shading on. Starting to look a little nicer, guys. Yay. Might have to pick some column widths because now I might need my column widths a little bit bigger. There's A needs to be a little bit bigger. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. That looks better than handwriting. And I want to sort them. How do I want to sort them? Maybe I want to sort them alphabetically by column A. Or maybe I want to sort them from lowest to smallest or highest to lowest on the total. Whatever it is, click where you want. Now click where you want your formula to go. Click in a cell of what you want to sort it by. So also think about if you have a list of names or something. This is the same, you can use the same thing. First of all, before I go in and do the sort command, I want us to click on one of those and then I want us to do Control A. Control A selects the current region and it also tells you what's going to be sorted right now. So look how it is ignoring from row 18 down. Would I want total to go up here in the T's? Right? Zoom subscription should be the last one. Total should just stay where it is. And if I had no blank row there, look at it is including total. So if I sorted, total's going to go up. Zoom's going to go down and take its place. What's going to happen to my total? It's going to go, I don't know what you want to add up here because now I'm in the middle of all the data. I'm going to Control Z undo. So here's how cool it is. I'm going to click on one of my expenses. I'm going to go to sort and filter, and this is on my home tab. I'm going to go sort A to Z and just grab, remember our housing is $2,000. Watch how housing $2,000 moves. The whole row moves. The total stays. The headings stay. Mostly the headings stayed because we fancied them up. We made them pretty. So it knows that it looks different than our first row. It looked different than housing. Expenses looks different than housing. Housing was on top, right? So it said, I don't think she wants this one to sort. Sorry, I talk so much that I need to keep that going. So isn't that perfect? So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to show you the madness. No, I'm going to delete that row. This is what would have happened if we would have done that without that blank row in there. Okay, nice little total, $3,838, $3,830 down there. Yay, yay, yay. Sort A to Z. Now what? Look at I guess my Zoom subscription's still okay, but look at my total. What's it doing up there, right? It's looking B2 to B13. Seen? What? All right. It's all messed up. It should be down at the bottom. It is so messed up. So some people have run into that and they're like, well, that's okay because I will just select the stuff that I want and then go into sort. Well, you can do that, or you can just keep a row blank. Now I have to make sure that that's right. So it's not right anymore. I have to fix it. There we go. B6 to B18. What do I need to do? Drag her across. So, two reasons for that. Easy to go there and insert a row and have your formulas update, and sorting is easy for that. And when we talk about sorting, a lot of people don't realize that you can do cool things like, hey, I want to bring, what is my most, my tiniest expense? I want my lowest at the bottom, my tiniest at the top. Well, you do the same thing. Control A just to see. Yeah, looks good. You don't have to select them first. Just do a Control A to see if it's going to work, like what all it's going to grab, and then we can go to sort A to Z, and we're going to go smallest to largest this time. Okay, we've got our 150 up here. 150 is at the top. So our Zoom subscription and our email program are at the top. There's our housing is at the bottom this time. Oh, you want it to go backwards? You want the highest one? Okay, just click on any of them. Sort and filter, largest to smallest this time. If I happen to be in the June column, then it would have done June. If I happen to be in the January column, it would have done that. If I want to go back to alphabetical, then I go there. So those are all the reasons why you want to do Excel budgeting. Any questions? Any comments? Anybody learn anything? Anybody have some homework to do? It's Friday, you can do it on the weekend. Give me some ideas of things that you can track with this. You can track expenses. You can track inventory. You can track renovations, right? With this guy here, renovations. Oh, my flooring. I need 6 boxes of flooring and they're $978 each. What's your reno going to cost? Maybe you do renos for yourself. Maybe you do renos for someone else. I had a reno guy come over and he gave me just he came over and he said, yeah, I'll get you a quote. And he gave me just the bottom line number. I said, can I see that cost split out? Because that seems really high. Oh, I don't have it on a spreadsheet. He says, I'm like, what? How do you come up with it? Oh, just on a piece of paper. I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, what if I said I wanted to take out one whole part of the reno, right? Oh, we won't do the bathroom this time. We'll just do the kitchen. What are you going to do? He says, well, I redo my quote. And I'm like, ah. So, any questions, comments? Did you find that helpful? Give me a thumbs up if you found that helpful.
That was great. Thanks.
Great, excellent. So if you think that you want more of this, or if you think that you have a friend who could really use this, let them know about the YouTube channel. This is going to be recorded on there. And if you want to have more of a class rather than a quick webinar like this, please consider signing up for the Excel Level 1 that starts on the 27th. And well, I've got the coupon on there as well. And I'll send a little message out after this one that you can click on it and see. All right, I've gone 1 minute over. I'm trying not to go over too much, you guys. If there's no questions, I'm going to say have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, and I hope to see you again soon. If anybody, I'm going to stop recording. If anyone wants to stay on and chat for a minute, I'm good. I have something in about half an hour, but if you want to chat about anything, let's do it. Thank you all for coming. Stop